Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I have done this every year. This year I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to do Kim at middle of the book marches, kind of variation on it. So this is the mid-year book freakout tag 2.0. So I thought, because I've done the other one I think 5 years in a row, I thought, hey, I could switch it up just a little bit and do a couple of her changes. She moved a few of the questions around. She took out a couple. She added a couple of kind of side prompts if you don't like the main prompt. So I'm just going to do hers because it was fun and she tagged me in it. So anyway, I thought it was, I said, I do this tag every year. I always wait till July because the middle of the year isn't until we hit July. So, I was hoping to get this up a little earlier, but again, I'm still fighting being sick. Anyway, so I'm getting better. Anyway, so let's, this year has been an interesting year for me reading wise. It's been kind of all over the place, and I would say I don't have as many, huge hits as I would like, but I've really enjoyed my reading because I've done a lot of series reading. So just be aware that most of the books that I'm going to talk about are in a series or have to do with one. It's just the way it is right now. So just be aware. So again, I'm going to go off of her, the way she had her prompts. And I will have her list of the prompts, and I will have the original tag as well. The creators are no longer on Booktube, but I have all that information. I'll have as well as the old original questions, and then all the ones I've done in the last few years. So not that you want to go back and watch those, but they're down there if you want. Anyway, so prompt number 1 is, what is the best sequel that you've read so far this year? She changed it to, what is the best book by a repeat author? So if you don't read a lot of sequels, you could use that prompt instead. I, of course, read many, many sequels. I am going to say the sequel series of The World of the Others, which comes after the first series, which is The Others by Anne Bishop. I love that first series of 5 books. It's one of my favorite series of all time. So I was really excited that I finally made myself read The World of the Others, and I just adored them. The first and the third books are my favorite of the 3 that are out so far. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more. I'm not positive. She hasn't said it's done, but I don't know. Maybe it is, but I've really enjoyed these. Again, this is they are urban fantasy with a twist. The world is different. It has a different history, and the others are all the shifters and all the other kind of creatures, and they and the humans are vying for power. And this is just a different location, just a little bit away from where the other series takes place, and we get like little glimpses of the other characters from the series. Second book follows some characters that we met within that series, so that one is a little different, but I just love this series, and I just wanted to put it that the best sequels that I read were in that series because I enjoyed all those. So it was a sequel series for me. Anyway, prompt number 2 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. So here I pulled all the books that I pre-ordered or bought this year. I pulled 2 pre-orders that I haven't finished or gotten to that I need to get to, and then 2 books that I bought that were new releases this year so far, in the first 6 months. So I haven't got yet to The Foxglove King by Hannah Winton. I did like her Wilderwood duology, so I do want to try to get to that. It's the first book in a trilogy. Oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, that's because I did this wrong. I had this all worked out and I screwed up. I want to read The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lunston. Again, this is Katie at Books and Things. I have started this. I got about 40 pages in. I just, at the time, work got a little crazy, and then I had to turn back in the audiobook. So anyway, I do want to get back to that and finish that because, again, I did pre-order that. 2 fantasy romances that I bought this year that I want to get to is the second book in the Crowns of Naxia series, The Crowns of the Ashes, and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. So I want to get caught up on that series. And of course, I want to read what everybody else is reading, which is Fourth Wing. I don't normally. Rebecca Yarros. This is the first book, I guess, in a proposed 5-book series, but I just haven't got to this. I was going to read it one week in June, and then my brain changed directions, and as I said, I'm very much a mood reader. So those books are some of the books that I really want to get to, mostly because I bought them new, or I bought them pre-order, or the first two are pre-orders that I want to get to, and I'm trying to keep up on my pre-orders this year, and I'm close, but not, I still have a couple I haven't got to. Number 3 is the most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. Well, my most anticipated book got pushed out till next year. I'm so upset about The Navigator's Children by Tad Williams. So I'm still behind on that series. I still haven't read Into the Narrow Dark anyway, so I'm hoping that early next year I will get back to the that series anyway. But I was really disappointed when they moved that book out, because I was really excited for it this fall, and so it's not there. So I'm just gonna the books that I'm anticipating are books I have on pre-order. You know how that works. So I have the second book that was coming in for the Dead God's Heart duology by Lila St. Croix. The second book is The Salt Black Tree. It comes out in August. I'm really looking forward to completing that series. The next book in the Honey Badger Chronicles, Born to be Badger, is coming out, I think, in November. So yeah, Born to be Badger. So I'm really looking forward to this. Again, this is funny paranormal romance. I just love that. A prequel to Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree is coming out, the Bone Chop and Bone Dust. So I'm looking forward to that. And the last book in the Plated Prisoner series is coming out, I think, in December. I'm not sure. I think it's early December. It's gold. So I'm really looking forward to the conclusion to that series. So those are like my high books. There's also a book by Kit Rocha that's coming out, Consort of Fire, which is going to be a dragon book. So I'm excited for that too. So anyway. Okay, so number 4 is The Biggest Disappointment. I would say Skinwalker by Faith Hunter was my disappointment. I'm trying to read a lot of the urban fantasies that I have the first book in series of. I have like 30 or 40, maybe 50 of these. And I read a couple of them a few years ago on Triad Chapters, and I was trying to get through some of them this year. And I have, I've started 3 of those series. Anyway, this one is, I was hoping to adore the series because it's so long and everybody talks about it, but I really had trouble with this book, and it just did not go where I wanted it to go. And the character just didn't do it for me. So I don't know if I'm going to continue this series because this book was so disappointing. I hate to give up on a series that so many people love, but it's just, this first book was hard, and I got kind of angry at a couple points. So anyway, but that was, like, I would say, of the books that I finished, the most disappointing. I don't count, again, I could have counted all my DNFs because there's quite a few of those. The biggest surprise, I'm going to have to say it was Crescent City, or The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I just on a whim decided that I was going to attempt this book, and I did a vlog on it, so I will have that linked below if you want to watch it. But I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed this overall. There was a part where, like 70 pages, where I hated this book. But other than that, it was still I would say it was a surprise, because I actually enjoyed this after I got into it and got over a few things. Overall, it was a fun ride. I was actually surprised because I DNF'd A Court of Thorns and Roses years ago. And I could not get into that book. And I was never going to read Throne of Glass. But this one was the only one that I was kind of maybe going to read. And I'm surprised that it went as well as it did. And I'm hoping to continue that series. So that was a surprise, because I wasn't planning on enjoying that. I figured I was going to be DNFing that sucker. Anyway, but I didn't. I actually got through the whole thing. So favorite new author, debut, or new to you? So this one, I think this is, this one I would say probably is a new favorite author. I've already read 6 books by her, or 6 books by him, sorry. 5 novels and 1 novella. And that is T.E. Kinsley and the Lady Hardcastle Mysteries. I don't know if I would say it was like a favorite author, but this is definitely a new favorite series. So talking to a person who was series, or who's into them, I just adore this series, and I really read a lot of them just recently. And so this might be kind of a bias to last week where I read I read 4 of these, and all in a row, and then also novella. So, and I'd read the first book back in March, and I planned to continue. I just hadn't I hadn't made time for it. And then I did it for Janelle-a-thon. So, it was just, this series has just been a delight. And it's a mystery series. It is like a cozy mystery series. But I don't know, it's in the early 1908, 1909. And Lady Hardcastle and Flo are just great. So anyway, that I would say this is, of the authors that I've started this year, this is one of my favorites now, and I'm probably going to continue with this series and maybe read some of the other series that this author has. Did I miss a number? No, I don't know. I feel like I missed something. No, that's right. Sorry. Number 7 is what is the newest favorite character, and I'm going to go with Flo and Lady Hardcastle. I know it's kind of a combination, but this duo is just fantastic, especially on audio, by Elizabeth Nolanden. Just fantastic. These are just so much fun, as I said, for mysteries, and I just adore the small town and then them going around in their little car. Anyway, it's just, they're fun, and their back and forth is just hilarious. Anyway. Sorry, I really enjoyed that this last week reading all those, clearly. But I would still say they're my new favorite characters just because I adored them. Am I on 8 or 9? Anyway, a book that made you cry. Beyond Surrender by Kit Rocha. This is the last novel in the Beyond series of that series, and then there's a spin-off series. But this one made me cry, and I knew it could happen because this is where the whole 9-book series comes to a close, and things were happening, and you know, all the stuff that's happened in the other books built up to the battle scene of this, and one of my characters got hurt, and I was unprepared for how upset I was at how when someone got hurt, and there were other stuff that was going on, but it was really just I'm just, even now, just thinking about it, it was just, and the unfortunate part of this was I was listening to this at work. So I was in my office trying to not show that I was crying. I don't cry. I would say I don't cry too often at books. I do cry every once in a while, if it hits me emotionally. And this did. And again, I had just binged the whole series up to this point. I had never finished the series before. So I think it just kind of hit me, because I was so invested in the whole world and the characters. And again, this is post-apocalyptic erotica pretty much. But it was like these characters just, all these just built and built, and this, the end scene or the end battle was just great. And I'm so glad I finished the series this year and I read all these. And yes, this one made me cry. So the other question that goes with that is a book that made you happy or one that maybe made you laugh. This one made me happy, and I can't explain to you why. I just was grinning as I read this. And that is The Millhouse Murders by Yukito Ayasuji. This is translated from the Japanese by Ho-Ling Wong. And I read this with Berna at Berna's Bookish Adventures. We read the Decagon House Murders, which I really enjoyed earlier this year. And then I knew that the next one was coming out, so we planned to do a buddy read. So we did this back in June, and this one just made me happy. And I don't know how to explain that for a murder mystery, but it did, because I was just smiling at the way this was built. This story was really well done. With the mystery of this place where some people died, and then a year later we're getting the same people coming back to this really weird house, and then also this other guy who kind of inserts himself into the story, and he is a character that we met in the Decagon House Murders. I just enjoyed how this put together with the 2 timelines. It worked really well. I had clues of who it was and how, but I didn't get the how, and it was really well put together, and it just made me happy. It was hard for me to explain how this murder mystery just made me happy, and it did, because I was enjoying the ride so much. And I think of all the books I've read so far this year, this one just, well, I was just giddy when I got to read this every day, you know, like my next part, because I wanted to see what happened. And I don't know why I would react that way to this book, but I did. And I really, really enjoyed this book. And I recommend this series for any mystery readers. Deccan House Murders, I would still read first. I really enjoyed that because I was a Agatha Christie and then they were nun retelling. But this one I just loved because it was different. And I just really, really enjoyed that. And it just made me happy. I really enjoyed that. Next one is Most Beautiful Book You Have Acquired This Year. I think this is one of everybody's most beautiful copies. I mean, I do have the Rebecca Yarros one with the sprayed edges. But this is the book that I just, the first Brandon Sanderson Secret Project. Just, oh, sorry, I forgot I had that there. But they're just so pretty. It has some of the green on the, let's see here, on like the cover and stuff. I don't know. And there's just, oh my God, my computer. Anyway, this was my, I would say is my most beautiful book that I've gotten so far this year. I mean, I do have Secret Project #2 now, but I would still say this one beats it. It's such a beautiful book, which is, you know, why I display it. But I just love them. Anyway, I'm so glad I did the Kickstarter. Anyway, but that was so far the most beautiful book that I own this year. Sorry. And then second to last question is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? Or what books have been calling to you? So I could have lists and lists of books that I want to get to the end of the year. I have still half of my list of all my classics, nonfiction, and translated works that I want to get to by the end of the year. So I have about 9 books on altogether for those. I do want to get to all those. I do have almost all of my 23 and 2023 to read. I've not done very good on that. So I could put those ones. But I'm going to say I have 5 here that are the ones that I keep looking at, that even though I haven't picked them up and just read them, they're ones I keep coming back to that I want to get to. So I'm hoping I will. I want to start the Fortuna Sworn series by KJ Sutton. I one day read 20 pages in it, 28 pages, and it was one of those days where I read too many books at one time. But this fantasy romance is one I've been wanting to pick up for years, and I just want to pick this series up. And it's following Fortuna, who is a nightmare. That is her power of knowing what makes someone scared. And then she is looking for her missing brother, and a fae comes and says, "Hey, I'll tell you where your brother is, but you have to marry me." I haven't got that far in the book, but that's what the tagline is thing. Anyway, I do want to read that. Another fantasy romance on that list is the second book in the Bargainer series. I have the whole Bargainer. I went out and bought it after I finished Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa, and I want to finish this series. I need to pick up the next book. So this is definitely a book that's calling to me. I just haven't picked it up yet. I meant to pick it up earlier. I was hoping to pick it up in June, and I did not. Jade City is just staring at me. I just want to read Jade City, but I keep thinking I need a time to just sit down and do this. I have the whole series on my shelf. I should not have bought it all, but I did over, as that came out in paperback. So again, this is epic fantasy, but with an urban setting and gangs fighting over Jade in the city. It was really good. I said again another day where I read 30 pages and I want to read it. I did start The Way of Kings a couple months ago, and I do want to either restart it or keep reading it. I only got 100 pages in, but I was really enjoying it. It's just, again, my mood switched, and so I haven't got back to this. But I want to make sure I read the first. This is the half of it, but I want to read the full The Way of Kings by the end of the year, so that next year I can try to read the other 3 gigantic books and the novellas that go in between before book 5 comes out. So that I really, really want to get to this. And then one that I would say that has been calling to me because I want to do this project again, and I'm curious to see how book 2 goes because of the mixed reactions, is I want to do House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. Again, the other one was a surprise that how much I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I'll enjoy this one, but I would like to do that and do another video on that. So those are all the ones calling to me. And then the best, she put the the main question at the end. She switched it, or Kim did, from the original. That's why it's the last question, is what's the best book you've read so far this year? As I said, I've had a really great reading year in the fact that I've read so many series, which next week I'll have a video up about my series update and goals update. I just haven't got it all together yet. I'm still working on my stats. But I hope to get that up so that, you know, to explain how many series I've read this year and how much progress I've made in them. And I've done a really good job of that. That said, I haven't had as many 5-star reads as I feel like I should have by this time of the year. So there wasn't a whole lot of options of to say my favorite book. But if we have to say the book that I think about that I really want to go back and reread the most, like I really want to reread this book, but I want to wait till we get confirmation on the last book. But I really, well, I'll reread the whole series when I do it. But I really, really want to reread this because I'm hoping to get a lot more out of it than I did. But I'm going to say Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir is still my favorite book of the year. This is the first book of the year that I finished. I really, really enjoyed this. I can't explain what happens in this one. In Gideon the Ninth, which is the first book in the series, where, you know, it's necromancers who go to this kind of place where they all have to, they're trying to become these certain advisors and stuff, and it just goes wrong. It's kind of a murder locker room mystery one there, but and again, the characters are just what make this book. But these books are bonkers. I don't understand everything. I can't wait for my reread for this. I just enjoyed this one because, again, from the first to the second book, it totally changes, and the second to the third book completely changes again. And you're floundering for half the book going, what is going on? And then things start to click. And I love the way she does that. It's not for everybody, but these science fiction books are some of my favorite, and I really can't wait to reread them all, which I was hoping to do this year, but the fourth book isn't still not a date for that I know of. So, but I would say Nona the Ninth is still my favorite book of the year so far, because it is the one that I want to most readily reread, and that to me is the sign of a really good book. Anyway, so that is my, I just talk so much, is my mid-year book freakout tag. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It had a lot of books in it. I really I talked about books that I really want to read that are still coming up. So hopefully that'll go well. So you guys can, I would like to, if you guys want to do this tag or do the original tag, as I said, I'll have both questions listed below, as well as, you know, the differences and stuff. So I think that's it. So anyway, like I said, I've been loving everybody else's mid-year book freakout tag videos, and it was fun to do this one. So thanks again to Kim for shouting me out on that one and hers, and I will hopefully you guys are reading something good, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.